music serves as a universal language that connects people on a profound, intangible level. But how do musicians do this? I'm Warren Buchholz, Jazz Brand Manager at WUSF, and I'm on a mission to find out.
Pack up all my cares and woes. Here I go, singing low. Bye, bye, blackbird.
Meet Rita Bolton. She's a singer and pianist who lives in the Tampa Bay area. She's also a therapist and an educator, which has influenced her music. She recently released her new album, Soulful of Jazz, filled with a collection of jazz, blues, pop, gospel, and show tunes. She's collaborated with some of the local jazz greats like Hiram, Hazley, and John Lamb. Joining me in the studio is Adam Darbyshire, where the three of us sat and had a soulful conversation about music, life, and everything in between. I hope you enjoy.
I'm Rita Bolton, and I suppose today my identity is vocalist, musician, but I actually have another job and career. I'm a licensed counselor, a marriage and family therapist, and a professor at Kaiser University. So one of those musicians who's always had the second job and the third job.
I always like to begin, who inspired you to want to get into the life of music?
Oh my goodness. I think my dad, because he was a big music lover and had his own really incredible voice. Mm. He had this really soft, gentle, a really great voice. And he was an artist. I got none of that artist DNA, except I guess creatively with music I did. But oftentimes I would kind of hang out where he was painting or working on a project. And he was a big band kind of guru. He loved big bands and loved music, as I said, of all kinds. And as I kind of hung out with him and did my homework in the corner, his collection of big bands records was on. And of course, I got to hear a lot of the vocalists from that era, beginning with really back to the late 20s, 30s, 40s, definitely. And then I'm really going to age myself now, but vocalists like Vicky Carr. And of course, all of those vocalists from the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. I'm thinking Julie London now.
Yes.
Just all over the place. And then my whole family, I am one of 5 kids and more to the younger side. So I got to listen to what my older siblings were listening to too. And, as someone who was much younger than them, really listening to the lyrics of pop tunes of the day and trying with my young brain to figure out things like love and romance when I hadn't even experienced all of that. So we were just a very musical family that way. And then my parents, it was very important for them, I think, to introduce my whole family to music. Even though we didn't have much money, my parents really did their best to expose us to music. And so I got the clarinet lessons. I started playing piano, classical piano, from about the age of 8. They got us down to Powell Hall in St. Louis whenever they could to take in the St. Louis Symphony. So music was always on. And whenever we could, we were getting out there and getting exposed to different types of music. It was basically their love of music and people and different cultures that really influenced me and continue to.
Is there a specific artist or that imprinted on you, really influenced you to want to also make music?
Yeah, I think from that point where I was hanging out with my dad, listening to definitely big bands. And of course, jazz had an incredible influence there. And then the vocalist, I always dreamed, and I think my dad did too, that one day I would be a singer, that was kind of my destiny. So I think with big band music, just being influenced by the jazz standards and all of the great vocalists there, there isn't anyone that really stands out for me though, as far as a vocalist or a specific group or even a genre of music. Singing just came so naturally and so easily. And I sang along with those big band records and the music that my siblings were listening to. And I had plenty of music theory growing up. I was really fortunate. For many years, we had a CASA, which was a community-based music education program in St. Louis. So I took piano lessons and then clarinet, so geeky, but mostly a pianist, trained classically from a very young age, all through up until high school, and then when I hit college. But then I realized in that first year of college that, wow, this is really requiring, I think, more aptitude for theory than even what I had. And then I, like a lot of first-year college students, when we're very young, we're in a process of kind of finding our identity. And I realized, yeah, music theory isn't really the fit. And so I also didn't want to work that hard and do all that extracurricular stuff is my word for it. And so I switched to psychology. That turned out to be a pretty good decision because, like I said, that was also an interest. What those two really diverse kind of fields of study share, though, is, like I said before, diversity, the influence of different perspectives and ideas and people. And I was very interested in, I guess I was kind of psych-minded, but then, so I graduated with a BA in psychology, a minor in music. And then I kind of drifted for about 20 years. I was living in Springfield, Missouri, basically because of the person that I was with. So I met my husband there, and we stayed there. We just kept staying there, even though I longed to maybe get back to St. Louis, maybe even get to other places and explore those places, including with regard to my music. But music was always there. I found a way, as we do wherever we live, I think we seek out people with those shared interests. And certainly that's the same way here in St. Petersburg, Tampa, and then south of here, Sarasota. With jazz, we've got these groups of people. We've got the kind of the jazz societies, the jams we go to, the musicians that we meet and hang out with. My husband at the time, he was a country and country rock musician.
I was going to ask about that. How did you get into country singing?
Through him, yeah. He taught me a lot, and in playing country, we played every little hole, every little roadhouse and bar, and it was pretty awful places and cool places. I would say we covered Missouri, Arkansas, and Kansas pretty well. And then by the by, I got in with a group called the Smith Brothers, and they were a couple of paternal twins, Jason and Jeremy. They were excellent songwriters, kind of got in with them. So even though we were in this small community, very rural, very scattered, we found each other. And I found the sense of belonging with the Smith Brothers. And I hung out with them for, oh goodness, I would say something like probably 5, 7, 8 years. But there I found just this musical home, and we were starting to play more original stuff. And just about the time that we were starting to get picked up on a kind of a larger circuit, Jeremy, our songwriter, became ill with colon cancer.
Oh, wow.
And unfortunately, he passed away about 6-7 months later. Yeah, he was very ill when he was diagnosed. And that was like losing a brother for me. And I kind of sunk into a place where it wasn't necessarily a depression, but just a place, it just took a lot of my motivation out. At the same time, I was pursuing my clinical mental health counseling career as a way to, because I had that wisdom that the gig always ends, was another thing I learned. And just that wisdom that and maybe that, goodness, I guess that motivation to support myself and meet my financial goals. I didn't want to wind up like some of my musician friends, hanging drywall, which is an honorable profession to be sure. But I wanted to be sure that I didn't, I was able to enjoy life, including having enough money to do that and having that security. So there was the counseling, but that's another place I felt right off the bat, got really lucky, got some career counseling in that 20 years that I was hanging out and just bebopping from one kind of secretarial or administrative job to another, still playing music, definitely on the weekends. And found a great fit there, wound up getting my master's. We're all masters, licensed at the master's level. And then eventually getting my doctorate and then getting into teaching about 10 years ago. So yeah, that was kind of my journey.
How would you say your work has influenced how you sing or how you produce music?
Oh, goodness. That's a great question. Really relevant question. I think identity-wise, it has kind of fed my soul. And so in, my most recent CD, or my second one, Soulful of Jazz, was the title I ultimately came up with because soul is at the heart of what we do as counselors. We're very much helpers. As I said, just a really big people person, celebrating all of the things that unfortunately are at risk for us. Diversity, giving people a sense of belongingness, a sense of emotional and other types of safety, are at the root of our existence and definitely of our good mental health and well-being. And the same goes for music. Music, I've used music as an analogy, among others, in my work as a counselor. And I've had so many clients who have connected that way with me as a helper, and also used music as a way to make sense of their life, to find meaning, and also solace and coping in times of crisis. Yeah, great question.
We definitely need music, especially in community spaces, because it does help alleviate that kind of mental health crisis that perhaps we're going through.
Absolutely. And, we're not too many years removed from COVID, and COVID affected all of us in ways big and small. But we really saw in a positive sense, positive spin, the importance of connection. If we didn't know it before COVID, we sure did during and after.
Yeah.
And so that influenced so much, and definitely influenced me. But that coincided with my diagnosis with stage 4.
I do want to move into
cancer.
That now and talk about
and so that was big in the picture. Yeah. COVID wasn't.
How has that experience changed how you perform or produce music?
Drastically.
Yep.
In some ways not. I've always been a musician, always will be. That'll always be in my life, like a lot of folks. But what happened there was that I had oral cancer that started as a little teeny tiny tumor on the on the right backside of my tongue.
Oh, okay.
And then I had a surgery to remove that. They went in and cleaned out the lymph nodes on that side. And then that appeared to have resolved things. And then it popped up in my lymph nodes on the left side of my body, on the left side of my neck. And that was a much more serious situation. And then had another surgery, this time a radical neck dissection. That saved my life. And then I went from that second surgery into 7 weeks of radiation and chemo. And so what that did, it wasn't the cancer. It was the cancer treatment, which definitely saved my life, as I said, and is a good thing. A very hard thing, though.
Yeah.
The hardest thing I've gone through in my whole life, bar none. And I've been through some stuff. But what it did was it affected my whole vocal anatomy. I think the radiation was probably the main culprit. The radiation took a broad sweep from left to right. If I was a building before the cancer, I would have had all that whole building functioning from the foundation to the top. After that treatment, it took out like the middle floors of that building. And so oddly, I still have the upper part of my range and I have a lower range now, but that sweet spot, I'm not sure why illness does this to us, but it takes that strength that we really, up to that point was kind of our sweet spot of our life. And there's a big loss there. It changed my range. But then after the cancer, it's a wonder I could sing at all, really. I think it's a miracle. I think I kind of was preparing myself for the potential reality that I wouldn't sing again.
Yep.
But then I don't think it ever really went away. I just kept singing around the house. During COVID, I recorded these little podcasts from the living room. And then I started to really appreciate the gift that I'd been given, which was this new voice. Certainly, if you listen to my other CD, it's very different, very, very different. I had, I think, a strong voice, but it wasn't really anything special as I look back at it. And now I've got more of a lower, more, I guess my voice has more depth now. Now, the voice I'm using today, I am getting over a cold, so I've got even more huskiness and raspiness. This is not normal. But I think singing in the lower range and with this deepened new voice that lends itself really well to the music that I selected, again, pretty thoughtfully, versus my first CD with this CD, more of the soul, the music that has that soulful quality.
We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Hey, I hope you're enjoying this and all the quality content we offer through WUSF. We need your help, though. Like everything in an overcapitalized society, things cost money to operate, like creating all of the awesome videos and podcasts you see here. Now, I could break out the puppies and play to Sarah McLachlan and you break down and hit donate, but I think we're bigger people here. So, if you're able and willing, please donate your dollars today by visiting WUSF.org/donate to get started. Anything helps, and your money goes toward producing all of this content, supporting our community, and a whole lot more. And if enough people do this, maybe these annoying ads will go away. Puppies! Donate today.
Baby, you ain't nothing but a hound now. You know you're crying all the time. Baby, you ain't nothing but a hound dog.
Soulful of Jazz.
Soulful of Jazz.
That's full of jazz, blues, pop, gospel.
It's got everything.
Everything on it.
Yeah, it kind of got out of hand there. There's 20 tunes on there.
Yeah.
But enough for marketing wise. If you need music for your cocktail party, there's a full hour and a couple of minutes of music there for the background of your cocktail party. But
yeah, Great American Songbook. My favorite, Bye Bye Blackbird, Hound Dog. It's a wonderful CD you got.
oh, thank you. I have a little bit of PTSD, kind of from my first CD, which was, it was not, the stuff on there was not as thoughtfully chosen, but one of the critiques was from a radio station in St. Louis, was that there wasn't really anything unique about it. And that stuck with me. With this CD, I think I'm getting a little bit closer to that mark of, I really wanted to put a unique spin, like probably all of us musicians want to do on things. I think I got a little closer to that mark, but still came away with a little frustration that this isn't enough. I want to do something even more focused next time, and even wrap in some original material. But there just wasn't. At that point that I started to record it, I didn't know of anyone who had that material. And I certainly didn't as a songwriter. But that's something I've been spending a little bit more time on. And I think with the new CD or the next CD, you're going to see more original stuff mixed in with probably some, like you said, that Great American Songbook, the stuff that we will never get tired of performing or hearing, and that is still very relevant and timely, thanks to these different varieties, the spins that we're all putting on it. Kind of one of the little thrills I got after I released it was in seeking the rights and permissions for the songs. Kind of an expensive process, but I really believe in that. Even though my CD may not get that much play, I really believe in giving that definitely to the authors and the performers that came before me. But I was thrilled to see my name come up when I Googled one of the tunes, and my version of that tune came up, and it was like, woo! A way to kind of leave my mark.
And you recorded with some St. Pete, Tampa greats.
My goodness, yes.
WUSF's Jackson Harp, Hiram Hazley, and then legendary John Lamb.
Oh, yes. I'm so excited. That's another thing I wanted to do, and it definitely hit the mark with this album was to get us all together. And that's been, to be honest, it's been a frustration for me. I got here in 2016 and really started getting out there maybe 2017. Then I had, of course, some other stuff getting in the way of that, to be sure. But I feel like I still don't have a music home. So my plea, I've been able to play out some.
Yeah.
And been a regular at some of the jams, a lot of the jams, to be honest, been kind of a jam rat. But would really love to see us be more collaborative in a thoughtful, intentional way out here. But that was definitely a motivation with this album to get us all together. There's so much, as you know, tremendous talent here.
What was playing with John Lamb like?
Oh, goodness. Oh, humbling. And he's such a humble human being. Goodness. But to get him on the album, I caught him at the Hangar Jam down at
Monday Night Jazz Jam.
Right.
Yep.
I just wanted him in a selfish kind of chick singer way. Like, I want him on my album. So I caught him at the jam one night, and he was walking, and I was literally chasing him down. And I was like, Mr. Lamb, oh, hi, you don't know me, but I'm Rita, and I'm doing this album, and I would just be so thrilled if we could get you on it for a couple of tunes. And again, I think he was just kind of taken aback, and he said, ultimately, I would have to hear you. I need to hear you. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And I pointed him to my website, and a lot of my music is there. But that wasn't good enough. No, he had to hear me. And so once he decided that, I don't know what that decision was about, but I think, we're talking about John Lamb here. And this veteran musician who has lent his time, his talent, his integrity to to decades of music. And so I think that was not, I understand that was a tough decision, or a thoughtful decision. I'm just not going to be on anybody's CD here. So that was a tremendous honor, but playing with him was humbling because another new thing about this CD was I was making my piano debut, and I've always had major issues around playing piano, but really making my foray into jazz piano, which is still really Greek to me, to be honest. I got the music theory. I've got a strong foundation in music theory, but jazz theory, it's like calculus to my brain.
I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit about how that experience with cancer affected, because you spoke about how it affected you physically, but how has it affected you more philosophically in your musical and artistic endeavors? Do you approach performing differently at all?
I think the answer to that question, which is an amazing question, is yes, absolutely. If you've never had cancer, you're very lucky. But those of us who have had cancer, it's life-changing. It changes every aspect. Not necessarily negatively, though. Not at all. Not at all. It's changed everything about how I think, feel, and what I want for myself and what I want for other people. I would say it's given me this wonderful reinforcement, validated what I've always known as a counselor, that adversity isn't all bad. We get lots of good stuff by walking through adversity. Insight, wisdom, a deepening, we call it a deepening of ourself. And in my case, it uncovered, as I said, with this kind of changed range and a quality to my voice. I didn't have that quality before. It in an odd way even gives us things. And definitely the old standby, a new appreciation, of course, for the preciousness of life and how lucky we are to wake up and to be healthy and feel good.
And you get to create music, right?
Still get to do that. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Where can people find you online?
Well, I have a website, Rita Bolton. That's Rita Bolton, not the famous Bolton like I like to joke, but ritabolton.com. There, folks can listen to my music, find out a little bit more about me. And hopefully there's a little button, a little action button. Where's Rita? I hope to have more on the back end of that button. And definitely my music is online in all of the usual places that you find music these days. And I'm also on Bandcamp if you're one of those who really wants to have that CD in their hand. And it's so funny to me how we consider CDs and albums now, the physical form, as merch or merchandise. But you can get that merch on my Bandcamp site. So yeah, all over the place. And you can certainly download single tracks or the whole album. And my other album, Trio, is also on there for a different experience of Rita.
Well, thank you, Rita, so much for coming in today.
I can't thank you enough for the opportunity. Thank you so much. And I so much appreciate what WUSF is doing. Rock on.
Today's audio was recorded in the WUSF studio. Production assistance by Adam Darbyshire. Edited by Scott Walkler. I'm Warren Buckles, host. Studio Sessions is a product of WUSF and is sponsored by Community Foundation Tampa Bay with support from the Palladium, the Gobia Foundation, and from you. Thank you for your support. Learn more about jazz and arts Texas, Florida by visiting our website at WUSFjazz.org. Copyright 2025, WUSF.